Today we are going to learn about the artist Alma Thomas. She's our artist of the month. Whenever she created art, she wanted it to look like it was made out of tiny pieces of something, paper, glass, or stones, maybe even bricks. She wanted it to look like something called a mosaic. Today, you will be able to paint whatever you want, but it's going to look like it is a mosaic, which is made out of tiny pieces. Alma Thomas usually made abstract art, which means it didn't really look like anything from real life. For your project, you can decide if you want to draw something that looks like something from real life, or just shapes and colors and make something abstract. Let's get started. You need to make sure you're taking your time today, and also make sure at the end of class that someone is refilling the water with clean water, because every grade is using the same art supplies. The first thing you'll do is decide what you want to draw. I'm going to keep it simple and just make a shape. So with a pencil, you're going to draw your drawing, whatever you want it to be. And then we are using the paint trays to paint our picture. If you have a color that's kind of dirty, you just have to wash your brush and scrub the paint, and wash your brush and scrub the paint. You could also get a tissue or a paper towel to help wipe it, but you have to wet it first. To use this paint, you want your brush to be wet, and you don't need to push down into the paint. Just swirl it really gently. And we are painting in little tiny pieces. So you just make tiny marks. Try to keep them in a line while you're painting, so you're not just painting dots all over the place crazy. You're painting dots that are in a row. You will fill your whole paper. I have one I've been working on. This one's not finished. I still have some parts of my paper that are white. So please today make sure that you are filling the entire paper with dots that are as close together as you can get without the dots touching. You might make a mistake. You might realize your brush is too big or too small. And if it is, just use a different brush. I'll try to have extra brushes in your water cup. You might also have to take turns with brushes. If you need a bigger brush or a smaller brush, you and someone at your table might have to share. But whenever you're finished painting the whole paper with your dots, you're going to let your paper dry at your seat so we don't have to use the drying rack today. And at the end of class, the sub will take a stack of all of your papers on top of each other, and you'll leave your messy paper at your seat. That way the next kid can use the messy paper. But we'll stack our papers together. It's okay if they're a little bit wet when we stack them together. When you're finished, keep it at your seat to let it dry, and you may have one piece of free draw paper, and you cannot paint for free draw. You have to just use the free draw markers, and make sure you clean up all of your free draw before you line up. That you're putting your name on the back of your paper, your first and last name if you know how to write your last name. You have to make sure your brush stays super wet while you're working, otherwise the little marks are not going to happen. So you have to keep putting your brush in the water, swirl it around, and paint until you run out of paint. Dip it in the water, swirl it around. You have to dip it in the water every time. Do not sit there and try to scoop up the paint or swirl it. If you are not using the paint the way you need to, the sub is going to give you crayons, and you will use crayons instead, and you will not make a free draw. So make sure that you're using the paint the right way and that you're on your best behavior. Thanks.